Passive income. It is the only way that you can actually become financially free. Today, I am talking about our passive income strategy, 4 passive income vehicles, and 2 outcomes that you want to be working towards to know that you're on the right path to creating financial freedom in your life. Hey, my name is Eker, and today I'm talking about everyone, I would say most people's favorite concept when it comes to money, passive income. It's this idea of making income while you're not working. So let me start by saying the difference between active income and passive income. So active income is the income that you make when you're actively working for it. This is normally when people are working in their business, in their career, or anything where they're actually having to put time into something, and then they're getting, some sort of payment in the return of that. Passive income is where you either set something up or you have someone else doing something and you are passively getting money whether you are working or not. So you could be making money in your sleep, like, a lot of these internet businesses, or you could be making money on the real estate side where people are sending you rent checks every single month. Whatever it is, you are now getting paid on a monthly, quarterly, or semi-yearly, or even yearly basis for not having to necessarily put in the time and energy into that specific passive income vehicle. Now, a really important concept that I think a lot of people lose sight of is there's a different scale of passive income. Some are fully hands-off. All you need to do is write a check to a company and they handle stuff, and then they send you money every single month, quarter, or year. That's pretty passive and hands-off, right? On the other side, obviously you have to do maintenance and check in and read the reports they have, okay? Now on the other side, there's the passive income, but it's maybe operated and managed by you. So maybe you put in some time, but overall you're still making money without having to necessarily put the exchange in, right? So like if you're a landlord of a rental property, you'll have to take care of the tenant, when the tenant moves out, you'll have to handle that, you'll have to deal with some of the stuff that come up. There's some operational stuff that goes in there, and that can be still passive income, but it's managed passive income. So it's important to know the difference between both, so that you know when you're educating yourself or moving into something, what scale is it on? Is it fully passive income or is it operated, managed passive income? All right. Now, the strategy that we have started to develop, which is something that I believe is one of the most important strategies that you can have if you want to be financially free, is important to realize that the more money you make, the faster you can become financially free. And the reason why is because you have an opportunity. You could use that extra money that you make through your active income, and you can invest that into passive income vehicles. Now, what most people do, and there's nothing wrong with this, and we use the money management system of the JAR system from Harv, and I'll put that in the description below. But one of the things that a lot of people do is when they make more money, they start to spend more money. They start to increase their lifestyle. They start to go on nicer vacations. They start to go for nicer dinners. They start to buy a nicer car, move houses, and their expenses go up, which means that their actual financial freedom number starts to get farther and farther away, because the definition of financial freedom is simply more passive income than your expenses, right? If you have more passive income coming in than your expenses, then you are technically financially free. Now, that's not lifestyle financial freedom, that's necessity financial freedom, okay? So it's important that you are understanding that when your expenses go up, your financial freedom number goes up as well. So what I would at least want to at least share with you the strategy that we've started to use when you are ready to do it and have the discipline to it, is instead of increasing your expenses, you keep your expenses the same. And what you decide to do is when you decide to increase your expenses, it's only through passive income streams, dividends, or distributions. Okay, so let me explain that. What that means is when you make your money, you are going to take that money and you're gonna put it towards passive income vehicles, passive income streams, where you're gonna get paid on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, or yearly basis. That money that you get paid with that passive income, that's money you can use towards your expenses, all right? So that's really important that you understand that is now instead of using the money that you would normally use for expenses, you are shifting that to passive income investments, and then the passive income investments spits out money for you to use for your expenses. So basically that means that you're not increasing your expenses, your passive income's actually paying for your expenses. Isn't that cool? All right, and guess what? Now you have all these investments in assets that are now starting to become valuable. So your financial freedom number actually is lower and your chance of becoming financially free is much higher. This is an ultimate strategy, but let me tell you, it takes discipline. It takes work. It takes a decision to make that I am committed to becoming financially free. So that's the strategy that we are using. It's a newer strategy that we started to do because it's like, you know, we fell for that. Like we made more money and we started to spend more money. We bought a house, we got a car, but now we actually have settled our expenses at a certain level and we decided that we're not going more, and when we want nicer things, our investments need to pay for that. And you know, obviously it's easier said than done, but that's the goal, right? So keep that in mind. So that's a strategy. Now, like, where do you find the investments to make this happen, right? Well, there is the most basic one that like you can actually get in at very low prices is called dividend stocks, right? A dividend stock is a stock that will pay you a certain percentage on a quarterly or whatever schedule that it's on, okay? And normally you'll be earning anywhere from 3 to 5%. That's very stock dependent, okay? So if you went to Google right now and put in best dividend stocks for 2021, you'll get a bunch of different lists from a bunch of different people saying what great dividend stocks there are. Now, should you listen to those? Probably not, but it's a great way for you to at least get educated on what dividend stocks are and how they work. Now, one of the benefits of a dividend stock is the appreciation model. So if the stock price goes up, your investment asset starts to go up as well. So you get the appreciation as well. So not only do you get paid your dividend, but you also get to play in the back end or the upside, which is the appreciation of that investment. Pretty great. But you know, it's more important that you have the strategy that, hey, I'm really more into the cash flow, which is passive income. I'm into the cash flow of the 3 to 5%. That's what I'm buying into. Anything above that is awesome and it would be a bonus, but that's not my main objective and goal. All right, so dividend stocks, that's number one. Now, number two is probably the more traditional route that you've heard of is the real estate, right? There's a lot of different types of real estate you can go into, but there's the real estate function where it is you are actually buying a single family home and you are then renting that home to someone else. And whether you buy that home in pure cash or you have a mortgage on that home, whatever the rent is above that mortgage or your expenses is going to be positive cash flow that you can then use for your expenses or you can use for whatever way you want to use them, right? And so obviously your goal is to get more rent above your expenses of that house so you have more positive cash flow. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people making in this investment is they buy for appreciation, not for cash flow. Remember, we're buying for cash flow. So your goal when you're buying a single family home or any real estate is cash flow, right? That's what we care about. Appreciation is great, and over time, historically, that's what happens, but that's not what we're getting into right here, okay? So it's more important that you think about cash flow so that when you're doing your due diligence on a place, what's the cash flow? Now, the second type of real estate that's also common is not just a single family home, but a multifamily. A multifamily could be anything from 2 all the way to hundreds, right? We owned a 113 unit complex in Arizona. We ended up selling it, but that cash flowed anywhere from $18,000 to $25,000 a month in positive cash flow. And we had that for multiple years. That was epic, right? And so it's important to understand that there's opportunities for you to get into, whether you partner with people, whether you know people, whether you find deals by yourself, these are opportunities for you to get into. So these are anything from like duplexes to triplexes to fourplexes to 10plexes to 50plexes, whatever it is, you have multiple people coming in. Now, when you get into this, this is definitely on the operated, managed passive income. We had a whole company that did this for us. We didn't touch it, but we still managed that company and had to deal with all the stuff. Also had a lot of construction costs and a lot of different costs that came into that with a big overhead of 113 units, right? So you know, the reward is also, you know, you gotta think about the effort that you're putting into it. Then the third type of real estate that I want to cover is something that is actually blowing up right now. It's a great investment, especially right now in the current times, is mobile homes. So mobile homes and camping grounds have blown up because, one, mobile homes, there's only a certain amount of them in all of the United States at least. And so if you're in different countries, think about mobile homes because a lot of people are actually vacating their places, right? Whether they're just moving out of their home because like they don't want to be there anymore because everything's going virtual and they don't need to, they could do homeschooling, or whether it's like the unfortunate circumstance that they just can't live in their home anymore. So the mobile home industry has very much been on the rise. And the great thing about mobile homes and the parks that you can, you know, buy into is that they're great assets for you and they usually perform really, really well as far as cash on cash investment, okay? So that's a little bit of an alternative investment that you can look into. Now, the third part of this is on the real estate side, there's a very common company that most people know of called Airbnb. Now, Airbnb is great because it's short-term rental, okay? And one of my favorite parts about the Airbnb function is that you don't necessarily need to own the home. You can actually go into different properties that are owned by someone else, make a deal with them to say, hey, I will pay you this rent, but I am going to then rent it out to other people for short-term leasing, and your goal is to obviously make more than what you're paying them. A lot of owners will like to do this because then they don't have to deal with the tenants, right? They get their rent, it's a win-win from they getting their rent, and they don't have to deal with tenants. That's a pretty good thing. So you wanna also think about that as well, because then you don't need that much money getting in. You just need some skills of, hey, this is like, you know, make some negotiation skills, okay? So that is the number 3 thing. And the number 4 is something that if you, some of our favorite investments that we've ever done is you actually do personal loans with a collateral to them. And this is where you actually step into like the bank position, right? The people that run the banks make the most money. And so if you can act like a bank, that's a really good situation. So this is where you give a short-term loan, anywhere from 1 to 3 years max. I would say 2 years would be our maximum. And you have a higher interest rate because it's private money and there's not as much due diligence to get into the loan. And they pay you on a monthly basis interest, okay? And this is great for cash flow investments that are collateralized by assets, which means that, you know, sometimes people have real estate or businesses that are collateral with these investments, and if they end up defaulting, you get to be the owner of that. Now, you don't want that to happen, but it makes you feel secure and safe that you're in a good investment to do it. All of this stuff needs due diligence. All of this stuff needs research. All of this stuff needs education. I've been doing this now for almost 13 years. My first business was a private lending business that we took to the $1 million mark by I was 25. So I have lots of experience in the real estate market, the stock market, and investing in total, because that's the career I thought I was gonna go into. I didn't go into that, but I still have a lot of knowledge in it, and it comes with an experience of actually doing it over and over and over again. So if you've never done it before, number 1 thing, get educated. Now, one of the most important things is how much money should you be putting towards your investments? Well, at minimum, I believe that you should be taking 20% off of your top line income and putting that towards a financial freedom account, which we call a passive income account, and that money will then go towards your passive income. Now, if you want to go bullish like myself and our family, we are taking any extra income that we're going on top of what we manage Anything other than that, we're putting towards our passive income so that we can use that expense, those passive income streams, for our extra expenses. Like if we wanted to buy something nice, if we wanted to go on a nicer vacation than what we have planned and budgeted, if we want to get a nicer car if we really want to. We have one right now, it's not a big deal. So we rarely use it because we work from home. So that's just if, right? If we decide to do that, now we have the opportunity to do that. We're playing with kind of the house's money versus our own money. All right, now two outcomes that you want to be working towards. Number one outcome you want to be working towards is paying for your necessities. So we all have basic necessities that we live by. This is not our lifestyle, this is our necessities, okay? So this is like your rent or mortgage, this is your food, this is your care, this is the things that are, you know, to live basically, right? And so you might have your expenses might be anywhere from, I don't know, $40,000 a year to $65,000 a year, right? And it could be more if you make more money, right? And you've increased your expenses. It could be way more. So you need to be thinking about, how do I cover that in passive income, right? So that's your number one goal. That's your freedom number one. Freedom number one is your necessities freedom. And then there's the lifestyle freedom. And lifestyle freedom is freedom number two, and that's for like all your vacations. That's for like any extra cars. That's for like anything extra that would give you the lifestyle that you would totally dream of and love. And that's where you are going for your next outcome of passive income to cover. So for some people, this might be $100K a year. This might be $150K a year. This might be $500K a year. It's totally dependent on you as a person. There's no real number other than the real number that you come up with. So how do you come up with this? Well, simply look at your monthly statements. Simply look at what you're doing throughout the month and see what you're spending and classify it. Necessity, not lifestyle. Necessity, lifestyle. Does it take a little bit of work? Yeah, but it can be a really fun activity for you and your family to do so that you can figure out what that freedom number is for your necessity number and your lifestyle number. So what do you think? Which one of these financial freedom vehicles are you going to be moving forward in, or at least getting some education in? What did you think about this video, and what was your biggest takeaway from today? I appreciate you watching this video. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your attention being here on this channel. Let me hear it in the comments below, because I want to interact with you and conversate and figure out what's going on for you for your financial freedom this year. Talk to you soon, and bye for now.